The cameras flashed. You saw this picture-perfect family, a 4-year marriage, a beautiful daughter. And they had this status of being, the statistical
The
anomaly.
ones that made it.
Exactly. The couple that proved this whole reality television love thing could actually, maybe, last.
Ah.
Alexa and Brennon Lemieux. I mean, they weren't just a success story. They were sort of the last hope of an entire season.
They were the anchor. And their survival was like validation for the whole Love is Blind experiment. They got through the pods, the altar, the first few years, all of it under this just relentless public eye.
Yeah, everyone thought they'd actually beaten the real-world pressure.
Made it permanent.
And then the ultimate plot twist arrived. On December 3, 2025, the anchors of Love is Blind Season 3. They officially announced their split.
Welcome to StarScope Report.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we're peeling back the layers on the divorce that officially shattered the success rate of that entire reality TV season.
We're asking the very personal question that's kind of tied to all the rumors. Is Alexa's spark truly gone?
Okay, so let's unpack this timeline. Because the announcement, it was a real shock when it landed on December 3, 2025. It details the end of their 4-year marriage.
And for context, they had just been posting about their 4th wedding anniversary back in July. Their daughter, Vienna Ziva, she was only, 16, 17 months old.
Barely, yeah. And the optics were just completely misleading. They meet and marry so fast in 2021 on the Dallas season.
Season 3.
And they were that aspirational couple, the stable end goal for everyone watching. They were sharing family photos, Halloween, Santa Claus visits, literally right up until the news broke.
It's wild.
And that public image was so key to their brand. Alexa, especially, she always credited the pod format for forcing that open communication, that deep connection.
She said they wouldn't have gotten that with traditional dating.
Right. So when the statement finally comes out on her Instagram, it is just a masterclass in PR.
Oh, absolutely. The language was so deliberately soft. It was a difficult decision made with care, respect, and appreciation. They made sure to say they were leaving with gratitude for the experiences that shaped us, and of course that their precious daughter was their top priority. It just signals this peaceful, mutual split.
And that's the story they wanted everyone to hear. But when you start looking at the actual sources, specifically the court documents that places like People and Us Weekly got their hands on, a completely different picture starts to form.
Yeah, there's a critical timing twist that just shatters that whole peaceful image.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
So the public announcement is December 3rd. But the legal action, that had already been taken.
Way earlier.
Brennan had filed the petition for divorce almost a month before, on November 5, 2025. Yeah. And that simple fact that one person starts the legal process almost 4 weeks before they agree to a joint public statement, it just completely reframes the whole thing.
It really does. It suggests they spent nearly a month legally separated, but they were, still posting happy family pictures?
Still maintaining the brand.
Yeah.
And presumably living under the same roof. It's just a lot to process.
How unusual is that for these high-profile splits? You see PR teams trying to get ahead of a story, sure, but to keep up the social media fiction for a whole month after the papers are filed, that seems...
It really speaks to the complexity of it all, right?
Yeah.
You're divorcing, but you're also trying to protect this lucrative joint brand. They had to get the public story straight before the legal stuff inevitably leaked.
Right.
But that filing date confirms it. Legally, the marriage was over on November 5th. No matter what Instagram looked like later that month. It just shows you how manufactured celebrity perception can be.
This timeline discrepancy is like the first major red flag waving over that whole mutual respect statement. If you are loving these breakdowns of how Hollywood handles its secrets, make sure you're subscribed.
Because we have to get into the cold, hard, legal reason Brennan actually cited for ending the marriage.
Which is a world away from gratitude.
A world away. That takes us right into the filing, and the language is clinical. Brennan cited the reason for the split, and this is specific to Texas law, as discord or conflict of personality.
Oh, conflict of personality.
Making the marriage insupportable.
Okay, that sounds like a legal catch-all term, but what does insupportable actually mean in court? Especially for a relationship that supposedly survived a TV experiment.
It's the closest thing Texas has to a standard no-fault divorce reason, but it still sounds so definitive. Legally insupportable means the conflict has gotten to a point where it, quote, destroys the legitimate ends of the marriage relationship and prevents any reasonable expectation of reconciliation.
So no coming back.
It's a final verdict. The core thing, the connection, whatever you want to call it, is just irreparably broken.
And the emotional context for this really clinical diagnosis, might have actually been hiding in plain sight. We saw hints on Alexa's social media.
Right, after the filing, but before the public knew.
Yeah, and it ties directly back to our whole question about that lost spark.
It really does. Alexa was reposting some pretty specific stuff on TikTok during that November window. There was one post that talked about 2025 being the year of the snake, which is associated with necessary endings, hard truths, and revelations.
Oh, that's pretty on the nose.
It implies this period of, profound difficulty that's leading to a required change.
But the one that really got me was the video encouraging people to find their spark again. The audio said something like, "You're losing that little light that was in you, fake it till you make it and bring it back."
And that right there is the emotional subtext. It's the real-world explanation for the conflict of personalities claim. It suggests that discord wasn't just about, logistical stuff.
No, it was deeply draining, like burnout or just emotional exhaustion.
Totally. And whether she posted that as a genuine cry for help or, maybe a strategic move to signal her side of the story before the news broke, it absolutely lines up with this narrative that the core emotional fuel of the relationship had just run dry.
And that internal struggle is intense enough on its own, but the filings, they pivot so fast from emotional conflict to, like, financial warfare.
Oh, yeah.
So Brennon is seeking this no-fault divorce based on incompatibility, but Alexa reportedly fired back in her own documents, and she directly challenges his whole story.
She denied the conflict of personalities claim, which legally that's a pretty big move in itself. She's basically saying the reason Brennan gave isn't the real reason.
But then it gets even more intense.
Right, because of what she requested next. A larger share of the community estate.
Why would she demand more than the standard 50-50 split?
Because she didn't just deny his claim. She also alleged Brennan's fault in the breakup of the marriage. And, this is the kicker, she accused him of wasting of community assets.
Whoa, okay, wasting community assets is some heavy language. That implies something way more serious than just not getting along.
It really does. It suggests financial impropriety, maybe reckless spending of their joint funds.
So in Texas, community assets, that's anything they acquired during the marriage, right?
Exactly. And for a couple with their kind of celebrity status, that is substantial. We're talking reality TV earnings, paid partnerships, endorsements, all of it. So if Alexa can prove Brennan was at fault or that he wasted joint money,
then the judge has grounds to give her a bigger piece of the pie.
a disproportionately larger share of the estate. Exactly.
And this all just shines this huge spotlight on the fact that even though they talked about it all the time on Love is Blind, they never actually got a prenup.
Yeah. And the lack of a prenup just amplifies this financial conflict, like exponentially. If they had one, the division of all this influencer money would have been set. Without it, everything they earned since 2021 is joint property, up for grabs.
So Alexa's move, claiming fault and asset waste, it's a powerful negotiating tactic.
It's a way to maximize her financial standing in all of this. It's a huge deal.
And Brennan, I saw, also requested that the court confirm that any assets he owned before the marriage stay his, which is standard, but...
It just underlines that fear, right? The fear of commingling assets when there's no prenup to protect you.
It's just, we've gone from a woman posting these sad existential TikToks to a full-blown, high-stakes legal battle over celebrity earnings with claims of fault and financial mismanagement.
The contrast is the very definition of celebrity drama. That difficult decision suddenly looks a lot less like a peaceful agreement and a lot more like a tactical withdrawal from a financial war.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button because this intense disintegrating signals a really major statistical failure. We have to talk about what this means for the reputation of the Love is Blind experiment as a whole.
Well, the Lemieux divorce, it confirms the complete statistical failure of Love is Blind Season 3.
That season now officially has a 0% success rate. It's honestly shocking.
They were the last ones, the final pair standing. Colleen Reed and Matt Bolton split earlier in 2025, so Alexa and Brennon were the last domino to fall. It confirms that the entire Dallas cohort just couldn't sustain that pod love under the weight of, real life.
And for this couple, it seems like the internal pressure of new parenthood was a huge factor.
A critical factor. But despite all the acrimony we're seeing in these legal documents.
The financial maneuvering and fault claims.
Yet, despite all that, the public reaction from their co-stars was actually really supportive.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's this unique bond, I think, between people who go through this crazy process. Colleen Reed, having just gone through her own public separation, she posted this really empathetic comment.
What did she say?
It was something like, "Alexa, you were so loved. The most amazing, strong, beautiful woman I've ever known. Here for you always. I love you so much."
Oh.
It's like that shared experience of intense public relationship failure.
Mm.
It creates its own kind of support group.
So, with all this legal hostility in the background, what does the future actually look like for Vienna, for their daughter?
Well, both of them have said over and over that Vienna is their top priority. And the sources are indicating that instead of fighting over custody and property in a public courtroom.
They're going to try to handle it privately.
Exactly. They plan to resolve those details in a private, written agreement outside of court.
Which is a super strategic move for public figures. It keeps all the sensitive details, custody, visitation, child support, out of the public record. Minimizes the media circus for their daughter.
It's that final commitment to the compassionate co-parenting shield they promised. I mean, the analysis here is pretty clear. This relationship survived the artificial bubble of reality TV, but it failed the parenting test.
That intense, exhausting, identity-shifting phase of having a new baby.
Especially when you add in the constant public scrutiny and the financial pressures from their celebrity, that conflict of personalities finally boiled over when life got real.
It's kind of a lesson, isn't it? That deep emotional connection forged in the pods, the thing Alexa always credited for their bond. It just wasn't strong enough to sustain the structure of their life once a child and the legalities of celebrity finance took over.
That's where the spark seems to have really dissolved.
I think the most shocking part of all of this wasn't the split itself. It was how fast that intense, accelerated bond from the pods just deteriorated.
From a happy 4th anniversary post in July to a divorce filing in November. It's so quick.
That transition is just brutally hard for any couple, let alone one living under a microscope with no prenup.
Okay, so to recap this whole deep dive, the shock announcement on December 3rd was really just the tip of the iceberg.
Right, because it was preceded by Brennan's private legal filing on November 5th, which revealed this huge timeline gap that completely undermined their whole story of a mutual, friendly split.
And we learned the legal claim was so clinical, conflict of personalities making the marriage insupportable.
Which lined up perfectly with Alexa's TikTok hints about losing her spark in the weeks just before the news broke.
And critically, this separation seems far from amicable, at least financially. Alexa is countering his claim, reportedly seeking a larger share of the estate.
Because of these allegations of his fault and wasting of community assets, it just underscores the high-stakes fight over their reality TV earnings now that the initial spark is gone.
And their divorce officially confirms the absolute 0% failure rate of Love is Blind Season 3.
We'll keep tracking the fate of these reality TV romances and the stars who have to navigate them every week.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.